you have heard the narrative that Justin Herbert's better than Tua and that's the way it should have been viewed by everyone in the draft, and that's the way it's only going to be. And I know you're a Tua guy, so I'll give you the floor. And you were laughing already, but I am not stuttering when I am saying that is a significant narrative that is bouncing around the NFL and its media right now.
Well, I think it's true right now, but does it matter right now? Does it matter right now that Justin Herbert, Tua, and Burrow all lost a bunch of games? Because really the thing's about winning or losing, not who throws the most yards, looks the best, who wins Rookie of the Year. Like right now, absolutely. Justin Herbert was fantastic. I'd argue he's one of the best rookies we've seen in the last 20 years, play quarterback. Peyton Manning threw 20 interceptions his rookie year. How many of us thought after Peyton's rookie year, oh, he stinks, he threw 20 interceptions, he's never going to fix this? Hasselbeck and I used to watch Peyton's rookie film when we're just studying offense and be like, ooh, he's got a lot of learning to do. Like, ooh, we're not sure about this guy. This is Peyton Manning, and he's one of the greatest of all time. So let's let this thing breathe for a few years. Let's let their teams figure out who they are. Let's see what they're surrounded with. Now, Justin's got to go through a new head coach, new offensive system. Let's see how that goes. What really matters is who's the best in 3 or 4 years and who has a chance to take their team to a Super Bowl in the first contract, because that's really now the new measuring stick for these young quarterbacks is while you are cheap, can your team use those assets, use that money they're eventually going to have to pay you to pay others to help you get to the Super Bowl? And are you good enough if we surround you with enough good people to take you to allow you to take us to a Super Bowl? So Russell Wilson, like you got to go now. If you're one of these rookie top picks, your goal is before I get my next contract, I need to get my team to a Super Bowl, because they're taking all this money that they're eventually going to pay me, and they're giving it to the left tackle, the kind of the extra receiver that you really don't need, but you could have that third safety player, that third secondary player that you really don't need, but you can pay, and now you have more depth. That Jadeveon Clowney presence in free agency that's going to demand a big number, but it's a game record. J.J. Watt is another example of that, going to Arizona. Like, can you take us to a Super Bowl while you're cheap? Let's wait and see who does that between Burrow, Herbert, and Tua before we get on our soapbox and saying, oh, yeah, we should have had him higher. And by the way, I'd also challenge all those guys, because I was on all the same shows as them, yours being one of them, is if they were so right, why didn't they have number one on the board? Like, listen, this thing is fluid. All three were really good prospects. And I think the guys I respect the most, the Daniel Jeremiahs, the guys like that, that's how they presented it, is great prospects. Let's see where they fit. Let's see what organizations they go to. Let's see who they're surrounded by. Let's see their circumstances before we start saying who's going to be the best. They have different traits. Like Joe Burrow's not as talented as Tua and Herbert, but he processes faster. Herbert has more horsepower and twitch than both of them. It paid off his first year. Let's see how, as this thing grows, it goes. Tua has the best instincts of the three. He didn't really get to use those instincts the first year. Maybe now he's in a system that unleashes him a little bit more. I don't know, but let's at least let this thing play out.
So then what would you counsel Tua or have about year two? While he also no doubt goes through the conversation that Darnold is hearing, which is like, boy, Darnold, I think, has heard a ton of stuff, but we'll send you to Houston if the Texans eventually decide Watson doesn't really want to play for them anymore. I mean, what would you counsel Tua, who's no doubt hearing all of that out of Dolphins fans, I'd imagine?
Same thing I counsel a 17-year-old that's frustrated they only caught 4 balls instead of 10 because he's an all-state wide receiver. Trust the process. Handle the process well. Take care of your business. Control what you can control. You can't control that Coach Dilfer called a terrible game in the state championship game. That's not your fault. You did your job when you were asked to do your job. The rest is on Coach Dilfer. So Tua can't control what the organization does. He can't control who they draft if he ends up staying there. He can't control if they draft big guys on the defense side of the ball or twitchy, fast guys on the offense side of the ball. He can control his process. He can be grinding in the offseason. He can look at his tape and say, ooh, this is something I didn't do very good. I got to get better at this, and go to work at it. He can look at his tape and say, oh, I did this pretty well. I'm going to pat myself on the back and say, I'm going to build off of this. These are some positives. But if you don't take a process-driven approach to this thing and you start worrying about all the things you can control, yeah, he'll end up the worst of the three. But if he handles his business well and continues to do his thing the best he can do it and control what he can control, good things will happen.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.